Seraphina stood before the Galactic Council, a sea of alien faces staring back at her. The Grand Hall was filled with representatives from every corner of the galaxy, each one unique in their appearance and culture. The air was thick with tension and anticipation. Tall, resolute, her blue eyes blazed with Earth's fire. War ravaged the cosmos, leaving destruction in its wake. The once peaceful stars were now battlegrounds, and the fate of many worlds hung in the balance. Seraphina's heart ached for her home, but she knew her duty extended far beyond Earth. The Draken, a reptilian race, threatened all. Their ships darkened the skies, their soldiers brought fear and chaos. They were relentless, their ambition boundless. The galaxy had never faced a threat quite like this, and unity was the only hope for survival. Her mission forged an alliance with the elusive Silvani. The Silvani were known for their wisdom and neutrality, but they had remained distant, watching the conflict from afar. Convincing them to join the fight was no small task, but Seraphina was determined. Their planet, Xylos, held the key to ending the conflict. Seraphina knew the risks. Xylos was a world of lush landscapes and hidden secrets, a place where the line between ally and enemy was often blurred. She had to tread carefully, for one wrong move could spell disaster. The Silvani remained neutral, their motives shrouded in mystery. They were a race of thinkers and strategists, always calculating, always observing. Their decision to remain on the sidelines had puzzled many, but Seraphina hoped to change that. She carried the weight of humanity's hope. Every word she spoke, every gesture she made was a step towards securing a future for her people. The responsibility was immense, but she bore it with grace and determination. Failure was not an option. The stakes were too high, the consequences too dire. Seraphina knew that the fate of countless lives depended on her success. She had trained for this moment, prepared herself for every possible outcome. Her heart pounded, a drumbeat against the silence of the council chamber. She would not falter. The eyes of the galaxy were upon her, and she would rise to the occasion. With a deep breath, she began to speak, her voice steady and clear, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire world. Zarkson surveyed the training grounds, his eyes scanning the horizon with a mixture of pride and determination. The training grounds were a testament to the Silvani's dedication to their craft, a place where warriors were forged and legends were born. His scales shimmered, emerald green under the twin suns of Xylos. The bioluminescent plants around him glowed softly, casting an ethereal light that danced across his form. Zarkson felt the warmth of the suns on his back, a reminder of the world he was sworn to protect. He was the Silvani's finest warrior, his loyalty to his people absolute. Every movement he made was precise, every decision calculated. Zarkson had trained for years to reach this pinnacle, and he wore his title with honor. His combat stance was a symbol of his readiness to defend his home at any cost. The Draken threat loomed large, casting a shadow over their peaceful existence. The skies, once clear and bright, were now often marred by ominous clouds. The Draken were relentless, their presence a constant reminder of the fragility of peace. Zarkson knew that the battle against them was far from over. Word arrived of an envoy. The message was delivered through a holographic device, its blue light flickering as the news was relayed. An envoy from a distant world, bringing with them tales of hope and alliance. Zarkson listened intently, his mind racing with the possibilities. Humans, they called themselves, fragile yet determined. They had travelled across the stars, seeking allies in their own struggle. Zarkson watched as they interacted with his people, their movements careful and respectful. Despite their fragility, there was a strength in their eyes that spoke of resilience and courage. Zarkson felt a flicker of curiosity. These humans were unlike any beings he had encountered before. Their technology was advanced, yet their approach was humble. He wondered what had driven them to seek out the Silvani, and what they hoped to gain from this alliance. They were caught in a war not their own. The humans had stumbled into a conflict that had raged for generations. A battle between the Silvani and the Draken. Zarkson could see the tension in their faces as they discussed strategies and shared their experiences. It was clear that they were committed to helping despite the dangers. Little did he know their arrival would change everything. The presence of the humans would alter the course of the war, bringing new hope and unforeseen challenges. Zarkson stood at the precipice of a new era, one where the fate of his people would be intertwined with that of these fragile yet determined visitors from another world. The Silvani palace shimmered, an oasis of crystalline light. Serafina entered, her hand resting on the neural translator. The air hummed with an unknown energy, both alluring and unsettling. Her gaze fell upon him. Zarkson stood apart, a monolith of strength. His eyes, golden and deep, held hers. A jolt, electric and undeniable, passed between them. In that instant, their worlds collided. Days bled into weeks. Negotiations proved difficult, the Silvani hesitant, yet in stolen moments, Serafina and Zarkson found solace in each other. Their conversations, a blend of curiosity and shared dreams, they spoke of their worlds, so different, yet united by the vastness of the cosmos. Her touch, a whisper against his scales, ignited a fire within him. Their love, a dangerous secret, bloomed under a sky filled with alien stars. Zarkson took her flying, soaring through Xylos's bioluminescent forests, a symphony of light and colour. Stars painted the sky, a million pinpricks of hope. In his arms, she felt safe, the war a distant nightmare. He showed her the beauty of his world, the interconnectedness of life. Her fear gave way to wonder. In that moment, they were not different species, but two souls adrift in the vast cosmic dance. Whispers snaked through the palace corridors. Suspicions arose. A human and a Silvani, an impossible alliance. A plot was uncovered, a betrayal within the Silvani ranks. The Draken had infiltrated their midst, poisoning the well of trust. Their love, exposed, became a weapon. Accused of treason, Zarkson stood trial, his loyalty questioned. The Draken attacked, their ships eclipsing the twin suns. Xylos erupted in chaos. Laser fire painted the sky, a deadly ballet. Zarkson, his honor cleared, led the Silvani defense. Serafina, her diplomatic skills useless, found herself on the front lines. Fear turned to resolve. They fought side by side, their love a shield against the onslaught. The tide turned. The Draken, their forces dwindling, prepared a final desperate act, a weapon of unimaginable power aimed at Xylar's core. Only one ship could stop it, a suicide mission. Zarkson stepped forward, ready to sacrifice himself, but Serafina held him back. Their eyes met, a lifetime of unspoken words passing between them. She wouldn't let him. Serafina piloted the ship, her heart heavy with the weight of the mission ahead. She knew the risks, the dangers that lay in the vast expanse of space. Every decision she made could mean the difference between life and death, not just for her, but for everyone she cared about. The stars outside the cockpit window seemed to blur as she focused on her task, her mind racing with thoughts of what was to come. Zarkson watched from a distance, his love for Serafina a beacon in the encroaching darkness. He had always admired her strength, her determination, and now, as she faced the greatest challenge of her life, his heart ached with both pride and fear. He knew that she was their best hope, but the thought of losing her was almost too much to bear. The stars seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the outcome of this fateful journey. The weapon fired, a beam of blinding white light that engulfed Serafina's ship. For a moment, everything was consumed by the brilliance, and it seemed as though time itself had stopped. In that instant, all the hopes and fears of those who watched were suspended in the balance, hanging on the edge of a knife. The light was so intense that it seemed to pierce through the very fabric of space, leaving nothing but a stark, empty void in its wake. Silence. The aftermath of the explosion was a void of sound, a moment of eerie calm that followed the chaos. Then a miracle. Against all odds, Serafina's ship emerged from the light, battered but intact. The impossible had happened, and in that moment hope was rekindled. The silence was broken by the cheers of those who had been watching, their relief palpable as they realized that they had been granted a second chance. The Draken ship, caught in the blast, disintegrated. The remaining Draken fled, their once formidable fleet now reduced to scattered remnants. The tide of the battle had turned, and the enemy, who had seemed so invincible, was now in full retreat. The sight of the Draken ships fleeing was a testament to the bravery and sacrifice of those who had fought, a reminder that even in the darkest of times there is always a glimmer of hope. Victory, but at a cost. The battlefield was littered with the debris of the conflict, a somber reminder of the price that had been paid. Lives had been lost, and the scars of the battle would remain long after the last shot had been fired. Yet, amidst the wreckage, there was a sense of triumph, a feeling that the sacrifices had not been in vain. The victory was bittersweet, but it was a victory nonetheless. Zarkson grieved, yet he felt her presence, a whisper in the wind. Though Seraphina had survived, the ordeal had taken its toll on both of them. He could feel her strength, her spirit, as if she were right there beside him, guiding him through the darkness. The bond they shared was unbreakable, forged in the fires of adversity, and it gave him the strength to carry on. In his heart, he knew that they would face whatever came next together. The war was over, and in the ashes, hope flickered. The galaxy, once torn apart by conflict, now had a chance to heal. The sacrifices of those who had fought and fallen had not been in vain, and their legacy would live on in the peace that followed. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while there was a sense of possibility, a feeling that better days were ahead. A new dawn, painted with the colors of sacrifice and love, rose over Xylos. The planet, once a battleground, now stood as a symbol of resilience and hope. As the first rays of sunlight broke through the darkness, they illuminated a world that had been forever changed by the courage and determination of those who had fought for its future. It was a hopeful dawn, a promise of new beginnings and a brighter tomorrow.